No, we built a whole process around this. You can self-serve. It's completely changed the game where it deflects tickets so that we don't get like, how do I raise an NDA when we have a very established workflow that you can follow in order to raise an NDA. So it's really changed the game.
Hello, Abs. How are you doing?
Hey, Ellie, I'm good. Nice to be here.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for coming on. So before we dive in, if anybody hasn't had the pleasure of meeting you, working with you, and understanding what it is that you do you want to give us a little background on your career, how you ended up where you are, and who it is that you actually work for?
Yeah, so I'm Abinaja or Abs. Everyone calls me Abs. I am currently at Canva and I work in the legal ops team. So there are four of us. Myself, our head of legal ops, a legal systems engineer, and another legal ops person as well. So we are a team of four supporting a team of about 80 lawyers who are distributed worldwide. My journey to getting here is, well, I mean, every legal ops journey is very different because it's not a very linear, you know, career path. But I did a law degree in Sydney. I studied like law and international studies, and I was like, oh, every law student wants to go work at the UN or wants to, do something like that. And I was like, yep, international studies is what I'm going to do. And then my uni job was working at the Apple store, and I loved it. It was just, I love working with new tech or like seeing what new tech is out there, how it works, and all of that. And then I was like, damn, I should have done an engineering degree or something, but that's fine. And then I was working at the Apple store. Then I started working at this legal law firm / legal platform called Sprint Law, who are headquartered in Sydney and like have a presence in the UK and everything now. But that was a very lean, a very small team.
Yeah.
And I first started in basically junior people do sales in at Sprint Law. So I first started in like a sales role and like giving legal info and putting together quotes and everything. It was like productized legal services, which was new at the time.
Yeah.
And so I started on the phones, and then I graduated, got my practicing certificate, and I was like, they basically gave me two options. They were like, you can go into a traditional law grad route, or you can go, try this legal ops thing. And I thought, I love tech and maybe I can always become a lawyer. Well, always practice law. So I went down the legal ops route. And then once I got there, it was awesome because I guess at legal ops in a law firm or a place like Sprint Law, you are so close to the revenue and your targets are like, if you pull this lever, what behavior changes, and then you can see the metrics change and your KPIs are like profit margin and things like that. So that was really cool because we were so close to the action. And then I had a bit of a sunk cost moment where I was like, I have this law degree, or I should probably put it to use. And then I did a little bit of legal work while I was at Sprint Law, just because I also had this realization where I was like, I don't want to operate in a vacuum. Like, I need to understand legal processes very deeply. And I don't think that everyone who is in a legal ops or legal engineering role needs a law degree, but I do think you need to understand it very deeply. And for me, I thought I needed to do some legal work. So I did some legal work, got that experience, and then I saw this role at Canva pop up, working with my manager, David Bushby. And yeah, he is like a legal tech aficionado,
He is.
basically, yeah, lives and breathes it. And I was like, that would be awesome to work with him at a place like Canva, which Also, for context, I live in Sydney, so Canva is like one of Australia's biggest companies.
Yeah.
Maybe it is its biggest. And just working at Canva sounded amazing, and especially with the team that we had, sounded amazing. So I got the job at Canva, and my job initially was working with CLM, so workflow designer exclusively, building out workflows, things like that. And then we also got another team member in our team who started taking more of the CLM work, and then like AI basically blew up. AI for at least like in-house legal blew up, and a lot of my role became AI tooling related, and that really works for me because I love learning how SaaS tools work, and I love actually trialing them and playing
Yeah.
with them. And then, yeah, so that basically is a long-winded way of telling you how I got here.
No, but it's
Yeah.
so interesting because it's something that you and I briefly touched on before. But for context, I was in Australia for a little while. That's where I started the Legal Ops job board. And part of the reason why I started it was because the jobs in Australia in legal ops don't really exist now. It's absolutely gotten better, but at that time, we're talking probably before you started at Canva, so what, 2.5 years ago, probably around that.
Yeah.
It was very limited. Like the things that you would see are probably at like KPMG, maybe the private law firms, and even at that, we're talking maybe 1, 2 jobs every month.
Yes.
So how would like have you seen that market mature? Like what is it now compared to what you see elsewhere? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, for sure. So, I guess a few things. I consider those jobs at like the big four or law firms, legal ops consulting, which I think is so
Completely
different
agree.
to,
Completely
yeah,
agree. Yeah.
yeah, or like legal ops and transformation
Yeah.
consulting, which, yeah, completely different skill set. It is a consulting job compared to what we
Yep.
do in-house. So in my mind, like going into a role like that is a completely different career. I mean, it's obviously not that different, but yeah, it's not something I've considered, at
Yeah.
least in the last few years. But in terms of like in-house, I know like Clock is huge globally, huge in the US, and we have an APAC clock group, and a lot of the members are, I think, people at like insurance firms or banking, like, yeah,
Not
banking,
super sexy,
or
not like really
yeah,
interesting yet. Not Canva, I would
yeah,
say. Yeah.
yeah, not many tech firms and
Yeah.
or tech companies. And I know a lot of the universities have really good legal ops teams, which is surprising and
Yeah.
interesting. But yeah, not many tech companies have huge legal ops functions based in Australia. So the roles here, yeah, are very like not yeah, not
Limited.
too many. Yeah,
Yeah.
and especially if you're not in Sydney, I think most of the action probably happens in Sydney, to some extent Melbourne. But yeah, not very many roles in Australia. And I've always thought about this because you just look at all these roles in the US and the UK and Europe, and I mean maybe even Singapore, but
Yeah.
for some reason not very many in Australia, and some of that might be due to time zone because
Yeah.
we're so different. With the UK, we barely have an hour of crossover in our winter time,
Yeah.
and in the US as well. Like maybe depending on where you are, like maybe an hour or two. So it kind of makes sense. But yeah, the I think we are like the tech ecosystem is flourishing. So I
Yeah.
don't know why there haven't been as many legal ops jobs, but yeah, it is growing though, which is encouraging. And there
Yeah.
are like more people that come to the Clock APAC events every year. Um, but again, still a lot of people from law firms or like consulting.
Yeah. So if you were somebody in Australia at the moment, like yeah, maybe you're in Sydney, Melbourne, Perth, or even somewhere more remote, and you were listening to this or you're thinking about breaking into legal ops, maybe you're super early in your career or even maybe, a little bit more mature and you're looking to kind of transfer over, what kind of advice would you give somebody? Like, is it join the groups? Like, where do you go? Where do you start?
I think you can even find people easily, like so much more easily than you can overseas, just
Yeah.
because there are not that many people, and you can really like narrow your search and look at, oh, I want to look at all these companies and see if they have legal ops functions, and then I would suggest really like speaking to people, and then obviously trying to go to industry events is a big thing. And the most recent thing would be all these huge legal tech companies opening APAC offices.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that just has opened up, like it's great for the industry. It's opened up so many roles in APAC. So I think anyone interested in legal ops should consider legal engineering as well, because
Yeah.
I mean, that's a whole other discussion of like, are these two distinct roles or are they the same? Or, I mean, they mean different things at different places.
Yeah.
So,
Well, what's your thoughts
yeah,
on that? Like, are they distinct roles? Does it depend on the size of the company? What do you think?
I, yeah, I think, I think legal ops, there's been like so many people have tried to define it. And I think over time, especially with all these like industry organizations, they've kind of like come up with, okay, this is what legal ops is, and it's very broad, and at your organization it might mean different things. And then this legal engineering role came in, and in my mind, and this might be completely incorrect, they kind of exist at more legal tech companies,
Okay.
and like Ellie, you would know better than anyone.
What? Yeah.
A shock. Yeah. But yeah, in my mind, like, you can have internal legal engineers, and we have a legal systems engineer on our team as well. I guess she's a legal engineer. I don't know like what the difference between legal engineer and legal systems engineer means, but yeah, I think it's more of like a legal tech company thing. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to like systems thinking,
Yeah.
and it's the same skill set. So I think even if the role looks different, it's you use the same skills.
Yeah. It's a very murky definition, I would say, but like I would almost argue, well, not that I would argue, like even working with you. So if people aren't familiar, like Canva does use Wordsmith, so Abs and I have the pleasure of working together and building um, systems and integrations and workflows and all that good stuff. But what you do is legal engineering. So like what I often think about is it does depend, I think, in house on the size of the org. I think, and the size of the legal team. So, like in your team specifically, I would argue that your role is probably split, like similar to what I was a doc planner, in that you probably do a lot of the like high level strategy and planning for the legal team with David, but then also you're in like deep with it, and that you're building, like you and I were talking about, integrating with Ironclad and trying to build MCPs and custom MCPs and APIs, and you were working with, was it Workado and all that good stuff. Like that is building, but then you're not only building and executing, but you're actually implementing and you're seeing it through end to end. So at companies like yours, where the legal ops function is probably smaller now compared to most, you've probably got more people. You've got like 3 or 4, don't you? Um, and then in bigger orgs where you have a larger legal ops team, I would almost argue that you start to split out, where you might have a legal ops person who's solely responsible for the strategy and the project management element of it, and then you'll have a legal engineer. I don't think that we have seen this play out long enough yet to know where it really goes, but I do think that you're right in that it's more prominent, and it really is starting with the vendors. We've started seeing it kind of pop up a little bit more in law firms, which makes sense. They have the budget, they've got the team size. That's the way their business operates. But I do wonder down the line if that's what we're going to see. But hey, we can only sit tight and watch the show, I guess. Um,
Yeah.
but we talked about how, so like, you obviously have a globally distributed team, and Canva is, I think you told me before this, 5,000 ish people, like, which is huge, and then the legal team itself is around 80. What is it like running a globally distributed team of that size? Like, what, I'm sure there's hardships. Obviously, there's great things that come in tandem with that, but what kind of issues or problems have you kind of run into?
Yeah, I mean, firstly, I guess our whole team is distributed, not just legal. So
Yeah.
that's a good thing. So you're building the skills from day one at Canva, where um, everything has to be async first. Which comes with some challenges as well, because you'll be sleeping and you'll wake up in the morning and have so many Slack messages from the
Panic.
UK, from the US. Yeah. But async first works great. I mean, it works great for some people, it works great for me, just because you like can do things in your own time. You manage your own time. You write everything down. You do have to be a good communicator, but I think that's kind of table stakes at
Yeah.
a company like ours. So yeah, it's async first. You also have to be consistent in the way you like do intake and triage things and like assign people things and make sure it's like equitable and not just there's one lawyer or two lawyers in the MIA team, they're gonna have to take all the MIA deals. Well, you can't do that because
Yeah.
it needs to be equitable. So there's so much that goes, like so much you have to think about there. I think it also has made us codify and document more, especially because we onboard people. Like we onboarded someone in EMEA like this week, and we need to make sure that everything they need is in Confluence or Canva, and yeah, we need to make sure everything's documented very well. But it also, I mean, it's not all like we're amazing and we've figured out this async first documentation. Like, it still comes with like, oh, this person needs urgent access to something. Okay, you might have to wait 3 hours till Sydney wakes up. So, there are a lot of challenges, but I do think it's also made us automate more things because, for example, access requests, which is very unsexy, but one shouldn't have to wait 3 hours till Sydney wakes up, and we should be able to automate it and automate like the groups. So it's made us think more about the whole like system of we shouldn't have like we should be able to automate most things, and makes us think like it makes us think about that more, I would say.
Yeah, no, it totally makes sense. So then you're talking about workflows and automating things, and then we all know that you're working with AI. Like, is there any workflow in particular that you want to shout out, or that you're particularly proud of, you've been working on?
This is one that we built recently and launched recently, using Wordsmith. And I mean, the reason we procured Wordsmith was for the Slack enablement, to be
Yeah.
like completely transparent.
Yeah.
We are a Slack shop. We don't even use emails that much, except if it's like for external.
Yeah.
Which is I think crazy to some people, but for us, like everything's in Slack. We have like golden rules of using Slack, like use channels and all sorts of things.
Replying
And
threads. Please tell me you're
yes,
replying threads. Oh my God.
yes,
Yeah.
you don't need to notify everyone of your reply. Totally. So we have like golden rules of using Slack, and it's very important to us that we have something that works with Slack. And on that note, we also use Jira, and we haven't decided to use our own matter management in legal, just because we need to meet the business where they are. So we have Slack, and then we have Jira, and then we plugged in Wordsmith in the middle, which basically Slack intake, it reads our FAQs and answers it, and then asks the user if they want to raise a Jira ticket. And if the user says yes, and it's very conversational. One of the like better tools that I've tried out, because a lot of tools claim that you can go back and forth in Slack, but it's
Yeah.
quite hard to do it in Thread. So yeah, the user says yes, and it automatically raises a ticket. A Jira ticket comes into our legal queue, automatically categorizes it to the right team, and then you can go further than that and automatically assign it to the right person. And we've done that. We've done like auto follow-ups as well. So if someone's following up on a legal ticket, we automatically we basically follow up in Jira via Wordsmith, which is pretty cool. And I think that like Atlassian MCP connector in Wordsmith has like completely changed the game for us, because it's allowed us to basically plug, in this case, Wordsmith in to systems we already use, and where we're just not going to rock the boat and make the business use a different tool just to talk to
Yeah.
legal.
No,
Yeah.
and I think that's something that a lot of legal teams are waking up to. Like I always argue, and it might sound harsh, but like legal, I think we saw a lot of this with CLM, right? But legal teams are starting to realize that they do not have the influence that I think they thought they had to bring people to a different platform. And then more than that, like the way that like SaaS platforms and AI are actually changing things, I do think that we're going to see people working from one place and one place only, and then just having everything connect into that. Like, of course, as you know, like we have the Wordsmith platform itself, and lawyers can go, or if you've got a license, you can go and sit in that platform if you wish to, but you don't have to, because I think that is the way that things are going. But what has the impact from the business or the response from the business actually been like to this kind of flow? Like, have you heard good things?
Yeah, I've heard good things. Just because it's like very conversational, gives you all the info you need, doesn't guess and doesn't try to
Yeah.
like do a web search and like, try to answer the question. And from our perspective, I guess we came like our starting point before this was we used to create a ticket for every single query that came in,
Yeah.
which used to bother me because it will be like the same people answering the same questions for like basic process related questions that do not need any sort of legal judgment or reasoning. So yeah, it's completely changed the game where that it deflects tickets. So that we don't get like, how do I raise an NDA when we have a very established workflow that you can
Yeah.
follow in order to raise an NDA? Or how do I get access to this? And we're like, no, we built a whole process around this. Like you can self-serve. So it's really like changed the game. And obviously there's like a monitoring period where I'm like looking at every single query that comes in, and I still do that because I'm like, oh, you don't know if like at last if it's assigned it to the wrong team or anything, but it's been
Yeah.
pretty good so far.
Yeah, fab. Okay, so Canva is very obviously AI forward. And if you've read anything on LinkedIn, you'll see that Canva basically shut down for a week. Well, like the business team shut down so that you could all focus on AI. And I think you did some sort of like conference or like hackathon build together. What on earth was that like?
Yeah, that it's awesome. So it's a whole week, and we started it last year, maybe even the year before, but definitely had one last year. So we call it AI Discovery Week, and it's not just like ops or business teams. It's every single person in Canva like tools down. The company put on a bunch of like Anthropic comes in, or OpenAI comes in, or like I can't remember who else, but like the like big AI providers come in, do some talks. We have people at the company, have like how to build sessions, and then each specialty or each we call them super groups, do their own programming. So we had like maybe three sessions specific to legal, and one of them was like 3 or 4 hours long. It was like Claude
Wow.
for legal or something. And then we also had like a know your AI toolkit, because we have so much tech now. So like we had a whole session that was like, oh, you know, you can use Claude for this, you can use Wordsmith for this, you can use I don't know, Bright Flag. Like, this is how you use different AI tools, kind of thing. Yeah, and then we had like a fireside chat. So we have like super group specific programming, and then company specific programming, and then also the last 2 days of that week is our hackathon days. So because we have like a lot of engineers in our company, they, you know, come up with ideas, and groups and legal come up with ideas, and then, you know, you put your hackathon idea down and people join your little group, and you spend 2 days basically sitting in a room and doing it, which is pretty cool.
Amazing.
And as part of it, we also had I can't remember how many meters long, but a pizza that was like really, really long. And it just like, yeah, it was pretty cool. I will fact check as to how many meters it was, but it was a super long pizza that like vanished in seconds. It was like, yeah, it was buzzing on what our office is. And this is like worldwide as well. So the Sydney office will do something, and then we have like San Francisco, Austin, they'll put on things. And then you can just like join different hackathons and work async even.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Well, I need to see a photo of that pizza because that sounds insane. But what was like the one thing that you took away from that week?
I think, and I facilitated one of the sessions on like know your AI toolkit, or yeah, for legal. I realized we have so many tools, uh, and this is just like a like not it's not a hot take, just a take really. That I think there'll be some sort of consolidation because there's so many tools that do very not similar things, but they, you know, yeah, people
Border,
bring
like,
out different features.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
There's a Venn diagram going on, and I
Oh
do
yeah.
think there'll be like consolidation at some point, but
That it?
that was probably my main, oh, one of my takeaways. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you heard it here first, folks. There's going to be consolidation. Abs has put money on it. Who's going to buy who?
This is true. Yeah, so I guess on like Canva being very AI enthusiastic as well, last year we brought out a AI native legal charter, which actually took a lot of work because a lot of people have opinions on what it means to be AI native.
Legit.
And it is somewhere on LinkedIn, you can definitely find out, but it basically sets out like our North Stars and like what we like, how we want to approach becoming AI native, and that it's actually a very big part of our culture in legal as well, because I think it's easy to obviously bolt on different, like, you know, bring in tools, bolt it on to different workflows. But I think it means something bigger to become AI native. And eventually, like, using AI will be like using email. I mean, we don't use email, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like,
Slack. Yeah.
yeah, like using Slack.
Yeah.
So yeah, we brought that out last year, and that's really like shifted our culture, or maybe like put out signals that we're very intentional about the type of AI tools we use, or yeah.
So then on being AI native, and that's clearly where you and I have both thought about the legal industry moving in the next, I mean, imminently months. We're not talking years anymore. What do you think is going to happen to the legal profession specifically? So let's talk lawyers first in the next 3 to 5 years. Like, what do you think is going to happen?
Some self-importance. But I think legal ops will have a bigger function, or there will be like a higher percentage of an in-house team will be legal ops or legal engineers. And I think it'll be like a high leverage seat, because there needs to be like more people deciding what types of work is like safe to automate, and then guardrails, and then now it's kind of like, oh, where exploration, like build whatever you want, like um we'll deploy it, but we'll think about like all the security stuff later. I mean,
Yeah.
within our company, of course. But I think legal ops or legal engineering become a bigger function in in-house teams, just because like if you're building more stuff, you'll need like people to own the knowledge bases and sources and measure whether it's working. And I don't think legal ops is a support function as much at Canva, but I think it can be in different companies. And I think that will change. I think the perception will change because it's more like architecting how legal work gets done. I also think it'll be more like legal as a platform. So I think that's just like something I've thought about before, where we'll have platforms and like, self-serve answers, automated intake, AI assisted review, where like we'll have that all in platform, whatever platform that is, I don't know, but like we'll have that as in platform. And basically what you'll need lawyers for is to just make judgment calls. And
Yeah.
well, that's obviously you can't replace that. I also think in like the better lawyers will not only be legally trained, of course, you have to be, but you also need to be systems minded. And yeah, I think systems thinking is not something every lawyer has, but I think the better lawyers will be the hybrid ones who are systems minded. And yeah, I also think like legal teams, like we talk about metrics at conferences and stuff. I don't think legal teams actually get measured that much, but I think that will change. I think
Okay.
yeah, with all this tech, I think legal teams will start being run like product teams even, or like judged like product teams, just because we use all this tech and now we have all this data. And yeah, that's something I've thought about.
Yeah. And what kind of metrics are we talking? Like, do you guys use anything internally to measure at the moment, or what are you thinking of right now?
By metrics, like I don't mean like billable time, because we obviously don't have
No.
billable time, but some sort of other output driven metric that isn't monetary. I
Okay.
haven't completely thought about like what that might be, but I think, yeah, I think there'll be more data and therefore more metrics to look at in the future.
Yeah.
And probably my last thing on the future of like legal work, or yeah, legal ops, is I think in-house teams will be comprised of more junior lawyers in the future, where traditionally it has been more senior lawyers who have been in private practice, and then the natural path is to go into in-house. But
Yeah.
I think in-house teams with like who, yeah, I think it'll just be comprised of more junior lawyers who leverage AI, who are more AI native.
Why do you think that is? Is it because they're more open to tech and it's easier to teach?
Yeah, they're just more like digital and AI native, I think. And you can be a generalist because you have tools. Whereas like before you kind of used to, go into private practice, go into a particular group, specialize, move into an in-house team and stay in that group, or that specialty. But I think there'll be more generalists, there'll be more junior lawyers using AI, and more people who are like more legal ops people and more system minded people.
And do we think legal teams in their entirety are going to get smaller if you have these people who are more generalist, more systems thinking?
I don't know about, like, you are replacing people with, like replacing lawyers with maybe legal ops people. So I think if you're leveraging like AI and like your knowledge bases and knowledge sources, they probably will become smaller, or like maybe do more with the tools you have, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But having said that, there are so many more AI companies now and so many more tech companies, so they all need lawyers too. There's just like
Yeah.
so much more innovation. Like I don't see it being like, oh my God, we're all losing our jobs kind of thing. But there are, yeah, I just think there'll be more generalists and more
Yeah.
junior people.
No, and the reason I asked that is because I don't see it as a scary question, and maybe that's the naivety in me. Like some people could completely disagree. But for example, like my job didn't exist 2 years ago. There are inherently going to be, yes, the way I see it, I do think businesses and teams are going to get smaller. That's just my opinion for various reasons. But I also think on the flip side, there are going to be a variety of new jobs that come about as a result of this. I think, not to get into this because it's going to be a whole different discussion, but I think you pointed out correctly, like, yes, we have all these systems and these workflows and whatever. You still look at the outputs in Slack, you still take a look at those. So if you can think about it, those are the low level, monotonous, repetitive questions where the answers are pertained in policies or documents, whatever. If you think about more extreme or complex or important pieces of work where we have AI automating that, you will still want a human on that. You will still want, I think you're going to be paying for the knowledge added on top, the execution, that piece that nothing else can deliver, only humans. I think Mary O'Carroll did a really good piece on this before, but I think that's where we're going to see humans excel. I had a really good conversation in one of our previous podcasts with Anna Richards, who's the head of community at Bright Flag. And I think I also said this to her. For example, we see now in supermarkets like how checkouts are getting more and more automated. It's all self-serve. I really do believe that there's going to be a premium on the human, as in you can't tell me that some little granny or grandpa somewhere isn't willing to pay that extra whatever 50p or something on top of their grocery bill to be able to go into a shop, that they're going to be served by a human and they can talk to a human. Like, it might be the very little piece of contact that they get that week. I do think that there's going to be a higher price put on a human, and that could be a really good thing. Ultimately, we're going to see it play out, I think, in real time. I think the train has left the station. Like, this is not something that we can change. But I'm positive about it. Like, I do think that it's going to create some good things. I don't think it can all be doom and gloom. But
Yeah.
yeah, stay tuned, I guess.
Totally. I mean, yeah, like you said, your role didn't exist 2 years ago. My role looks completely different to my job
Yeah.
description. Like, I don't think any of the tools that were in my job description, like, were around or were huge, or, yeah, my, like, or like building Claude skills, or like, configuring Wordsmith agents, or like, yeah, any of the tools that we use are completely different.
Yeah, and they couldn't have seen that coming. Like, that's again,
Yeah.
you probably, like you said, it looks nothing to like what you were probably hired for, but
Yeah.
it's probably way more interesting and developmental than you probably ever could have imagined. I don't even speak for you, but that's just like what
Yeah.
I've experienced myself. Okay,
Totally.
last one, Abs, to wrap us up. If you could give one piece of advice, and we joked earlier, we're not that old, but like one piece of advice to your younger self, whether that be generative AI or your 16-year-old self, what piece of advice would you give yourself after everything that you've gone through today?
Yeah, I think I don't want to be like cliche and be like, be curious, but I actually do mean that. I mean, like, don't just learn things in theory. I think I was telling you before or sometime, I love being on the tools and I love
Yeah,
learning how things actually work, and, testing things out, integrating things, and like the satisfaction that comes from seeing, tools interact with each other. I think the best thing you can do is actually learn how different tools work and start playing with them, even on a personal level, like vibe code something and then
yeah.
deploy it, and like, use your personal accounts and learn how that works. Like, don't Don't just be reading stuff on LinkedIn, because I don't think you'll remember or like learn exactly how things work.
No, it's just not the same, right? Like you really do. I'm a firm believer in just get your hands dirty and give it a go. Like
Yeah.
what's the worst? If you actually make it blow up or you break it, that's phenomenal. Like you found something really good. But yeah, nothing bad is gonna happen unless like please don't give your bank details or like any PII or anything that you like you don't want anybody to know. So caveats, we're talking very generally here, but like yeah, I completely agree. Abs, thank you so much for coming on. It's always a pleasure. And have a great rest of your day.